Hello, everyone. I just want to wish you a good day, good morning, or even a good evening to wherever it is that you're plugging into. And thank you for joining us with Amtrak Vacations, as I have a lot of fantastic information I'm excited to share with everyone on this call. Now, we had some fantastic sessions in the first two presentations we had, so I'm sure it's going to be the same here. But if you have any questions during any part of this presentation, please feel free to put them in the question box right down the side, and I'll be more than happy to provide an answer towards the end of the session. Now, this call may be more or less 30 to 45 minutes long, just depending on the amount of questions that we do receive. Now, my name is Baltazar Lopez. I'm one of the business development executives of Amtrak Vacations, and I'm going to be your host for today. Now, we're going to focus a lot on our national parks by rail, what it looks like to travel by train, things that maybe you had no idea you had access to right in your own backyard. But we're also going to focus on important information that you would need to know when it comes to traveling, top national parks that a lot of our visitors are looking at taking today, even planning out for 2023, and then also cross-country rail journeys being routed from your hometown, so a station nearest to you. Now, there is a lot of different trainings and presentations we do here and there, but I want to make sure we're all on the same pages in who we are. Now, that brand right there on the left is what we're focusing on today. It's our Amtrak Vacations brand. That's for all of your USA and Canadian journeys. And yes, we do go into Canada. Once those borders are opened up, you'll be finding that we can actually route vacation trips to go cross country in Canada and piece together trips, even starting in the US. Now, for anything international or unique destinations like Alaska, that is actually going to be provided by our Rail Bookers brand. Now, Rail Bookers, think of luxury trains, unique destinations, Europe, Australia, Norway, even going to the Arctic Circle through Alaska. All of that is available through Rail Bookers. Now, this is where you can travel by the train. All over this map shows all the different lines and connections, and the red lines are actually the train system. Now, in the Canadian side, that's actually the Via Rail system, and that goes coast to coast. So if you ever wondered if you can travel through Canada by train, yes, you can. Those trips are being planned for 2022, right now being booked. But as we're focusing on US, say that you're coming from Houston, Texas, and you're looking at traveling over to Salt Lake City to go to Yellowstone. So some of our travelers will ask, well, how do I piece that kind of trip together? All we do is piece those lines together to say connect over to Los Angeles and go over to San Francisco, over to Salt Lake City, or we can go from Chicago over to Salt Lake City. Either way, that's as easy as it is to piece it together. So no matter where you are, you'll just go on the tracks to head over to your desired vacation destination. And this is our incredible booking window. You can actually make reservations from today up to 2023, up to 24 months in advance. So if you're looking at a trip this year or next year, or even farther out, we can assist you and accommodate with that trip. Now, typically when it comes to rail vacations, if you try booking rail elsewhere, I'm sure you'll find you can only go about a few months out prior before you actually depart. But with Amtrak Vacations, we have a much more farther in advance notice, thanks to the partnerships that we have. Now, not only is it that we can book up to 2023, but we're also rail experts. When you book a vacation with Amtrak Vacations, all of our team members specialize when it comes to rail. They know the best routes, the best times. They can make sure you have the best vacation based on, again, preference of what you're looking for your vacation. Maximum flexibility, that we can add on destinations, we can make it any kind of dates you're looking for, even change the length of the trip. That's how we can fit it in a desired schedule you have. And we have a luxury options, multi-country journeys, extending your cruise. Maybe you're looking for a pre or post cruise trip. That is something we can absolutely do. And custom itineraries, where even if it means building it from scratch, we can do so. Typically, what's confusing to most people is actually very easy for us to piece together. And I want to also share with you a fantastic special offer. So this offer is something that's not available for too long, but I actually don't have an end date for it yet. But this is allowing you to upgrade your vacation trip. So maybe if you're looking at taking a trip and you are traveling 3 to 6 nights with us, we'll actually allocate $300 per couple of traveling to add to upgrade your vacation trip. So whether it be $300 to help you have a bedroom class on board the train, $300 to upgrade your hotel, activities, adding on nights, or upgrading your hotel to suites or grand suites. You can use it for anything like that. Now, if you're actually traveling 7 to 9 nights with us, that's $400 per couple. And then if you're traveling 10 nights or more with us, we'll actually allocate $500 to help you upgrade, pretty much having a free upgrade. So again, limited time, speak to our team members and they can go into a little bit bigger detail in regards to this promotion. And right before we get into the vacation packages, just be aware, everything fully customizable. It's not just maybe adding on one thing here or there. It is also adding on destinations, adding on extra nights. We can make it a round trip journey from your hometown, upgrade your rail ticket, add sightseeing tours, or even upgrade you to private tours. So much is involved in one single trip, or more of that one-stop shop for your next vacation package. Now, we're going to go into the vacation packages and understand if we're starting in a destination that's not exactly your city, just know, again, we can just reroute it to your destination so you can feel that you can start it from, say, Los Angeles or Seattle or New York, Boston, either one of those destinations and more is completely possible. Now, this is our America's National Parks. This is actually going to begin in Denver. Now, with this trip, we have a lot of different national parks included. We're going to go to Rocky Mountain National Park. We include the train that's in the journey and coach class to Denver. We'll have the 2 hotel nights in Denver ready for you, where you can have a full day experience at Rocky Mountain National Park. And this tour will take you through the entire national park, making stops along the way to see some of the most incredible sights. Now, we'll also take you over to Moab. Moab is one of those highly sought out destinations, but thanks to Amtrak Vacations, we have allotment in these highly required or requested destinations. So we'll have space where others may be sold out. In Moab, that's where you'll be able to catch the Arches National Park. This is one of the more famous national parks thanks to the consistent flow of water that goes through the mountains and the terrain. It carves in these holes, which then looks like arches that range from 20 feet high to even 100 to 200 feet high. And then we'll connect you over to Salt Lake City where you can visit Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone is one of those most beautiful locations where we'll have a lower loop tour included that will take you through all the major sites within Yellowstone. Think of the geysers, the prismatic lake, which is the boiling lake, the waterfalls, some different wildlife views. And it's a full day taking you back over to your lodge by Yellowstone. And if you extended it by a night, we also have an upper loop tour that goes more through the wildlife area of Yellowstone. Now, this trip is a 9-day tour, and it's only starting from $1,999. Again, it's called our America's National Parks, going Rocky Mountains, going over to Moab, Arches and Canyonlands, and then, of course, Yellowstone. Now, the next vacation trip is our Grand Canyon Getaway round trip from Chicago. This vacation package, it's including more of that Western themed steam train. This is the more traditional train that you can take going up to the Grand Canyon. And just so you know, there's actually no Amtrak train that connects to the Grand Canyon, but the Grand Canyon Railway does. This is a train owned and operated by the Grand Canyon. So what we'll do is we'll take you to Williams, Arizona. So again, in this package, Chicago to Williams, Arizona, it's about 30 minutes away from Flagstaff. You'll stay at Williams for a one-night stay at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel, or you'll board onto this fantastic train to head up north to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Now, while you're at the Grand Canyon, you'll stay at Historic Village. One of our more popular properties is TOVAR, which is actually hanging off the edge of the canyon. We have a motor coach Grand Rim tour that will cover a lot of the major sites within the south rim of the canyon, stopping along the way to see some sights, take some photos before getting dropped off back at your lodge. And you can even use the upgrade perks to actually upgrade to our Santa Fe suite bedroom or even a few other classes. Just an idea to think of when it comes to your own personal vacation trip. Now, this is an easily 6-day tour, and it's only starting from $1,179. Now, I usually get a lot of questions on what's included with these packages, and I just want to re-clarify that with this trip, We're including the coach class on the rail, 3 hotel night accommodations, the activities and tours, even 2 meals, which is a breakfast and dinner at one of the depots while you wait for the Grand Canyon Railway train. All of that included in this one price. Now, this is our Whitefish and Glacier National Park getaway. This getaway package was created because Glacier National Park is a beautiful place to be able to stay at, and it's quite highly demanded. So let's say that it's maybe it's difficult to find space in the dates that you're looking for. Well, this package is created because Whitefish is right in Montana, about 80 miles away from Glacier National Park, and it's a beautiful location to be able to stay at. And we actually include a car rental where you can actually go over to Glacier National Park just in case if it's sold out at the lodge during the time you're looking at travel. So we would have you at the Mountain Lodge, the Grouse Mountain Lodge. You'll stay for the 2-3 night stay. And while you're there, we'll set up a 3-day car rental for you so you can have a sightseeing of Glacier National Park where you can drive into just a beautiful road as you head over to Glacier National Park and explore, and then come back over to Whitefish as you end up your trip. It's a simple 3-day tour, and it's actually only starting from $299. Now, let's say that you're looking at going to Glacier, but you actually want to be able to stay at the Glacier Park Lodge. We still have some availability coming this middle of September and even later September. So really take advantage of that. Now, with this, you're going to start in Chicago. You'll stay for a night stay. We have an architecture cruise that goes on the water to be able to see some incredible sights when it comes to Chicago as a landscape. You can see the skyline. You can go on a few of our meal passes that we have access to. And we even have a crime tour and a hop-on, hop-off tour that goes throughout the city. So many options to pick and choose from when it comes to Chicago. We'll have you take a train that's an overnight train to head over to Glacier National Park. And that's the station, and it's actually 200 steps away from the lodge itself. So while you're at your Glacier Park Lodge, right in Montana, you'll actually stay for a 2-night stay where you will have the Big Sky Circle tour included. This is the big red Jammer Jeep that has an open roof, and it goes through Logan Pass, Lake McDonald, stops along the way to again see some of the more highlight sites. It's a full day tour and bringing you back over to your lodge. You'll have an overnight on the train to then head over to Seattle, where we include access to the Space Needle and Chihuahua Garden and Glass exhibit. So they're both exhibits that are right across from each other. I'm sure you heard of the Space Needle. Well, the Garden and Glass exhibit is just a wealth of looking like a huge garden, but it's actually made out of hand-blown glass. And then you can visit Public Market Center, and you can even upgrade your tour to the Seattle Embassy Suites, which is a beautiful property to have an incredible 180-degree view of the town and the ocean. It's a 7-day tour, and it's only $1,949. Now, you don't have to do all of the national parks together to be able to enjoy it. You could even just pick 1, 2, or even 3. This is our Grand Canyon and Zion National Park getaway. This is going to be going to the Grand Canyon, which again, it's a more popular destination. If you've been there, you already know how incredible it is and you can enjoy it again. If you haven't been there, you need to go to the Grand Canyon as it is a bucket list experience. You'll head over to Zion as well, which a lot of travelers say that it feels like they're just in the middle of a fjord. You know, fjords are where there's huge landscapes surrounding you with a narrow strip of water. Minus the water going through the middle, it feels fantastic. A 5-day tour, quick and easy trip, only $499. Now you may be wondering where the rail is when it comes to this vacation package. Well, you just let us know. Where is it that you want to start from? Maybe it's Springdale, Illinois. Maybe it's going over from Los Angeles, California, San Diego. You're coming from Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, New Orleans. Any one of those routes, we'll just add the rail in to be able to line it up to your vacation trip. Now, this is one of my personal favorites. This has always been on the top of the charts for years. It's our Grand National Parks. This is Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Glacier National Park trip. This is covering the 3 major national parks. Of course, Yellowstone, where you can be able to go and see the lower loop tour, where you hit a lot of the major sites with the waterfalls, prismatic lakes, some wildlife, the rivers. before continuing on to San Francisco. So you can then head over to Yosemite National Park. Now, my wife and I actually did this trip twice so far this year, and it's because it's incredible. It never gets old. The Pier 39 in San Francisco, you can still enjoy some clam chowder, still enjoy the time there. There's not a rush. There's nothing really different at all. And then going over to Yosemite, we did some hiking. You don't have to do that. You can still just explore it at your own leisure. But all of that is still available to this day. And then the train will take you over to Glacier National Park, where, as you know, Glacier, a beautiful place. You're going to be able to stay for a 2-3 night stay. And we'll have a 2 Medicine Valley boat cruise included and the Big Sky Circle tour, which goes on that red Gemmer Jeep to then take you through Lake McDonald, Logan Pass, and much more sites. And one of the featured perk options is enjoying a breakfast overlooking Glacier National Park. And again, this is one of those upgrades you can include with this trip. Now, I understand that there is a typo saying 4 days. It's actually more 14 days journey, and it's only starting from $4,549. Now, what's unique about this vacation trip that so many travelers love, it's not just the destinations that are extremely scenic, but the route. If you look at the map going from Chicago to San Francisco, that's the California Zephyr. That goes right through the Colorado Rockies, extremely scenic. I've been told it's like riding on a roller coaster without the drops. Now, when you go from San Francisco up to Seattle, that's the Coast Starlight, and other travelers call it the Pacific Coast Hugger because it hugs the Pacific Coast as you continue up north. Then going from Seattle, from Glacier to Chicago, that is the Empire Builder, where there's an incredible story behind it of what it took to actually make the bridges, the viaducts going through the tunnels in the mountain with these pine trees, more of that Canadian feel. All of that in one single vacation trip. You're seeing the top 3 scenic trains that Amtrak has to offer on one vacation trip. And the last package I want to share with you is our Grand National Parks of the Southwest, Bryce and Zion to the Grand Canyon. This one, again, is more of that Southwest Red Rock feel, almost like a Sedona feel. Arches National Park is included, as well as Grand Canyon National Park. We have Zion, all of which is a 10-day tour, only starting from $2,099. Now, with these national parks, we stop in unique destinations like Moab, Springdale, and those are the destinations you'll stay in to be able to explore from the different regions. Now, there are a lot of overnights when it comes to these trips, so I'll be able to go into detail with what it looks like on the classes on board the train system, but just be aware, many of our travelers are making reservations today because of our maximum flexibility offer. This is an offer where we've never had before, but if you need to change your trip or cancel your trip after booking a journey with us, you could actually do so without facing any kind of change or cancellation fees. You just have to make sure that you're booked by June 30th of this year. So before this month ends, any reservations that have been booked before this month ends qualify for this promotion up to the date of the trip, which is up to 24 months in advance. Now, packing for the train. So I'm going to share with you a lot of pros and cons, different things I would recommend, things I would probably stay away from. So if you have a pad and paper or if you're already taking notes, I would get ready to get as much as you can. But per passenger, if you're looking at traveling, you can actually bring on 2 carry-ons as well as 2 checked bags. So it's quite a bit of luggage. For myself, I only carry 2 carry-ons, a backpack and a duffel. But if you want to carry extra luggage, you absolutely can by checking the bags. Now, if you do check any bags, I recommend arriving at least 45 minutes prior to departure in order to do so in a timely manner. Now, what is it like on board? First off, just know there's 3 different classes. Well, 3 essentially main classes. That's going to be the coach class, roomette, and bedroom class. Now, on pretty much you board on separate boarding areas. So if you're going to have coach class, you board with coach, roomette boards with roomette, and bedroom boards with bedroom class. Coach class is the most cost-efficient seat on the train. It's very comfortable. It reclines back 45 degrees, so you can sleep in the class. There's space overhead for luggage at the top and at the end of the car. You can You can have power sockets right at your seats. That has 2 power sockets, so you can charge your electronics. You don't have to worry about going down anywhere else. And you have your own window to enjoy the sights. 2x2 seating, no middle seat. So it's just very efficient for you to explore and ride on the Amtrak system. Now, you may be wondering, well, what happens if you want to have a shower? Or what happens if you want meals on the dining car? Well, you just wouldn't have access to those kind of things in coach class. You'll have access to a cafe car, like snacks, cold food, chips, drinks, different things like that. But if you want access to the dining car meals and a shower, then you're going to want to upgrade to a roomette or a bedroom class. Now, when you upgrade to our sleeper classes, immediately now you have a dedicated car attendant to assist you with anything you may need. Included is your toiletries, bottled water, coffee. All classes have a privacy door that locks from the inside with heavy curtains that enclose and cover the windows for extra privacy, with your own private room. And the roomette class, most cost-efficient sleeping accommodation on the train. It actually fits up to 2 travelers, 1 very comfortably, 2 doable, and it has a shower and restroom down the hall from your car. And in the room, it's dimensions of 6'8" by 3'6". So like I said, it's doable for 2, comfortable for 1, and that is our roomette class. During the day, there's 2 seats facing each other with a pull-down table. Then during the evening, that converts into a bunk bed style for 2, which the attendant will take care of that for you. Now, if you're looking at upgrading to a larger room, then I would recommend the bedroom. The bedroom, most incredible class on board the Amtrak system. It's 7'6" by 6'8", so much larger. Shower and restrooms actually in the room for yourself. Fits up to 2 travelers, space for your luggage. And it has a love seat by day with an additional chair and a pull-down table in between. So all meals are still included, no matter which one of the sleeping classes you get. But it's just something where, based on preference, would you like the shower and restroom in the room or down the hall? That's going to be a huge deciding factor. Now, the accessible bedroom. This is maybe if you're wheelchair restricted or maybe you need handicap accessibility. Well, there's an accessible shower in this room. It's a very large bed for you to be able to enjoy. There is a second bed that's a bunk bed style for if there's another traveler coming along with you. It's always going to be on the first level of the train. And there's actually oxygen refueling stations on board this class. So if you have oxygen, you can refuel it while traveling on the train. Now, the dining options. Like I said, any sleeping class, your meals are included, and they're, since up to this point, been delivered directly to private sleepers, like a hotel room service style. Well, now that we're going through a transition of everything opening up again, we now, starting June 23rd, which is this coming Wednesday, we're going to have traditional dining services back on board the Amtrak, where you can actually go to the dining car, enjoy meals like a restaurant style, and a brand new menu that you can actually overlook and read, choose, select off so the chefs can prepare for you. So now this is back in motion. Now you can still enjoy it from your private room, but you can actually now go to the dining car. And we have everyday discounts as well. So if you have any children that's considered ages 2 to 12, they'll actually receive a 50% discount on the train portion, the rail portion of the vacation trip. Seniors ages 65 years of age and older will receive a 10% discount on the rail portion of the trip. And then military personnel, as in active duty, their spouses, their dependents will receive a 10% discount on the rail portion of the trip. So very exciting things. My colleagues will actually be hosting a few other webinars that are always up to date with any kind of promotions, as well as up to date with what we're seeing a lot of our travelers enjoy taking. So if you want to plug into those with my colleagues, on the 22nd, we have round trip rail vacations on board Amtrak. 29th, life on board Amtrak. Now, we're going to get into the questions. So if anyone has any questions, now is the time to put them in the question box. And if maybe you haven't put any questions yet, just answer this question. What destination are you considering for your next vacation? Maybe it's something I went over today, maybe it's not. Maybe you want to know more about Alaska or Europe luxury trains, or maybe you want to learn more about Boston, the fall foliage, Florida, Charleston, Savannah, San Diego, Los Angeles. Anything, put in the question box and maybe we can elaborate a little bit more on it. And don't forget, limited time special, if you're traveling 3 to 6 nights with us, we'll actually allocate $300 per couple for you to be able to enjoy as a free upgrade. If you're traveling 7 to 9 nights with us, that's $400, and 10 nights or more with us, $500 per couple will be used to give you that free upgrade. Now, also be aware that if maybe you're traveling solo, any solo travelers, the promotion's still there, just in half, just as it would be doing it based off per couple. So I'm going to go into the questions now, and just be aware we also have all of the contact info right at the bottom of the screen, where if you want to visit our website at amtrakvacations.com, you can, to see what different packages we offer, our number, operation hours. And if you want to give us a call, you absolutely can give us a call today. But if you're working with a travel advisor, or if you know of a local travel agency, I'd recommend reaching out to them and letting them know you're looking for an Amtrak vacations quote. And then we can work with your agent in creating your perfect vacation trip. So let me go through the questions here. So great question here. How long can I hold a reservation before having to pay in full? Great question. So we can't hold any reservations, but we can book reservations with a deposit. So if your trip is within 60 days before departure, we actually need the full payment of the trip. If it's outside of 60 days, then all we actually need is deposit, typically of $250 per passenger, and then you'll be good to go for your vacation trip. Now, we do not require monthly payments. We just require the final payment being received once we hit that 60-day mark. Now, are there sleeper cars on the handicap level? So yes, there are sleeping cars on the first level of the trains. So yes, there are sleeping classes on the first level, even second level of the trains. Okay, so Nancy, great question here. I would be traveling alone. Is the cost doubled per trip? So it's not doubled for trip, but there is a single supplement charge, not by us, just by hotels and rail. Our team members can price it out for you. Typically, if you're traveling with a second person, per person basis is much more cost efficient. But if it's going to be just one traveler going, it's going to be a little bit of a premium on a per person basis, but it's not going to be double. Elizabeth, great question here. Which trips are best to travel with toddlers? Um, in my personal preference, with what we've noticed, a lot of toddlers enjoy more wildlife areas. So Yellowstone's fantastic for the toddlers, as long as you're, of course, taking care of them, because Prasmatic Lake and the geysers are very hot, so you wouldn't want them touching any of the water or anything like that. But we always get a lot of compliments on children going on these trips that have to do with a lot of wildlife. Sometimes the Grand Canyon, it's hard for just the average adult to be able to comprehend how massive it is. So a child is not going to really be able to enjoy that much of it. New Orleans is a popular trip because we have the Bayous tour, Swamp and Bayous tour, so they can see some crocs or alligators. I'm sorry if you're from New Orleans, but I actually don't know which ones are actually in the swamps. But they actually have those main attractions as well, which is very popular with toddlers. And on the Yellowstone trip, do we stay on the train or at the lodge? So you'll actually be on the train traveling there, but you'll stay the night at the lodge to stay in Yellowstone, and then you'll continue on the train to head to the next destination. When does the promotion end? So I actually don't have an end date. So I would highly recommend calling in to get your quote today or even by tomorrow to get that taken care of, because they did not provide me an end date, but I don't believe it would last that long. Considering a trip to Los Angeles from Chicago. that would be a great trip to do. I'm actually over here in Laguna Niguel, California. So I'm right. I actually was just in Los Angeles and went to Rodeo Drive, which is in Beverly Hills. Went there with the family just 2 weekends ago, and it's a fantastic place. We walked by the stars. I saw the hop on, hop off tours we offer. So a lot of things you can do to this day in Los Angeles. Okay, so Susan, great question. Meals are included on board if you're in a sleeper or a bedroom. Yes, meals are included if you're on any one of our sleeper classes. And that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the entire duration of you traveling. Where are restrooms for coach class? They're going to be at the end of the car, but it's just going to be the restrooms, as in bathrooms, not actually the showers. Okay, another fantastic question. So, Dominique, can Amtrak points be used towards a vacation with the discount of booking before June 30th? So, we wouldn't be able to apply the Amtrak points to our Amtrak vacations reservation to discount the trip, but we can add points to your membership. Is Valerie right here, is the upgrade promotion good for 24 months? So the upgrade promotion, it's good for any trip that you're looking at booking. You just have to book it while the promotion's available, which is now up until who knows the end of this week or the next week. Um, I would highly recommend before this week ends. Typically, it's going to be at a week at a time. So as long as you book a trip by this week, but it can be as far as 24 months in advance, that promotion will apply for the reservation. Okay, Linda, great question. How much time do you get to spend actually touring the parks? Is the time flexible, or if you want to stay longer, can you? So yes, you can stay longer if you'd like. You can stay longer, you can stay shorter, just on preference. But with our tours, when I was referring to the different full day tours, typically a full day tour consists of 8 hours. It's going to be between 8 and 10 hours um, a tour of going to the national park. So it is a full day excursion taking you back home. Some travelers will add on an additional night so they can actually do their own exploring without the need of being taken through the park. And so, yes, we can easily extend nights. I had someone who wanted to stay at the Grand Canyon for 7 nights, just to have a week there, when our trip typically only consists of 1 or 2 nights at the Grand Canyon. So, absolutely, we can add on more nights. Okay, so Deborah, great question. What are some of the most popular stops of the California Zephyr and Empire Builder? Great question. So popular spots, Denver and Glenwood Springs on the California Zephyr, and then Salt Lake City to go to Yellowstone, and then ending in Emeryville, which is by San Francisco. So those are the main stops. Usually we get a lot of travelers wanting to do that Colorado Rocky route. So they'll go from Denver and connect over to Salt Lake City. Glenwood Springs has the natural hot springs, which is great to do. And if you're talking about the Empire Builder, it's going to be Seattle to Chicago and stopping in Glacier National Park or even Whitefish. Those are the main stops that travelers usually want to take when they come on those specific train routes. So another great question, do you have any discounts with the rental car companies if I buy a rail pass? So you can buy a rail pass, but we usually recommend not to get a rail pass. At least it's nothing that we specialize in. We specialize in point-to-point tickets. What happens is when someone gets a rail pass, they don't have seat reservations. So you board onto a train, you can ride the train, but you don't actually have a guaranteed seat. And sometimes you actually have to pay extra to have that guaranteed seat. With our point-to-point tickets, we actually book exactly where you're going to stop at, plan the trip, and you're good to go, as well as arranging the hotels. Now, when it comes to all of our partners with the rail companies, the hotels, activities, the car rentals, we do have partnerships with all of that. So we do get a fantastic rate at it. So when you call in, our team members can price out exactly what you're looking for. Everything is live dynamic pricing, so the less availability we have, the more expensive things can be. But the more availability we have, the less it's going to be, just like flight tickets. Can we travel on the California Zephyr between national park destinations without being part of an organized Amtrak tour? Thank you, Elizabeth, for that question. I guess you're referring to just riding the train. And yes, you can absolutely just ride the California Zephyr. We have travelers who will start in Chicago and end all the way in San Francisco. No problem at all. We could even go one way. We can go round trip. All you have to do is call in, then our team members can do that for you. Cost of average meal. So when it comes to the dining car meals, there's no prices because they're included with the sleeping class. Coach class, if you're referring to the cafe car, it's just exact same as just the airport, but just you get a muffin, $2 muffins, $6 croissants, and ranging from different things like that. It's I don't have the exact menu in front of me, but that's the cafe car. When you have the dining car meals, those are already included with the sleeping class. And coach class typically will not have access to the dining car meals. Okay, how are the sleeper car costs determined, and how do we find out the cost to upgrade? That's all by calling in. When you call into our team members, they'll come price out your trip for you. The reason why it's difficult to price it, just as what are the numbers of cost for a roomette, is because there's different connections and different routes you can do. From Chicago to Los Angeles, which is a whole entire journey, that cost of a roomette's going to be more expensive than someone going from Chicago to Williams, Arizona. Even though they're taking a roomette, price is completely different because it's not going as long. So when you call in, it's finding out exactly what rail connection you're going, how long you're traveling on it, and the dates you're looking at. Because if there's more space, great. If there's less space, it can be a little more expensive. And then we can have that price for you. I guess rule of thumb is that roomettes typically run double the price of a coach class. So if a coach class ticket's $50, a roomette can cost between $100 and $300. If we're looking at a bedroom, it can typically cost about twice as much as the roomette, but that's just like a huge rule of thumb. It's not actually an exact number. So I recommend calling in to get that exact number based on your trip. Sometimes I've seen bedrooms actually cheaper than the roomettes just because there's so much bedrooms available and not that many roomettes available. So I would recommend calling in to get that taken care of. Is there a dome car going from Chicago to Glacier? So there's a lounge car. That lounge car has seats that face towards the window, a lot of different scenery you can enjoy. And that's available to everyone on board the train. Coach, roomette, bedroom, anyone can go into lounge car. And when there's more travelers going on board the train, they actually add on an additional lounge car to accommodate the extra travelers. Grace, I see you're saying solo travelers pay same as couple for roomette. No, you do not. You would not pay the exact same price of what two people are going on a roomette. It would be a slightly cheaper than that, but if we're talking about a per person basis, you're paying a little bit more of a premium if you're traveling solo in a roomette, but it's not going to be the same price as two people traveling in the roomette. Do we have to wear a mask? So at the moment, yes, you'll be wearing a mask on board the train until anything has changed. But when you're in your private sleeper, you can actually remove that mask. What is the best time of year to see the Grand Canyon and the national parks? Uh, Personal preference again. I've been to the Grand Canyon during the summer, which hot, 110, 116 degrees, and I've been there during the winter, which is very cold, and there was actually snow. And so if you want to see snow at the Grand Canyon, then go during the winter time. If you want to go when there's a lot of travelers going on, then summertime is the best, but you want to be able to make sure you're wearing appropriate clothing, not so you don't overheat. And typically, what I see is the secret is layers, just having clothes that are thin, but wearing a few layers of them so you can change your temperature as traveling. What usually we get a lot of travelers going in June and July, and then of course September and October is the later times where travelers will still want to take. And a great question here, Peggy. I see you're saying, do you have any excursions to Mount Rushmore? So we actually have hotel reservations we can make in Mount Rushmore. There's no train that actually connects to the state. So we can get you as close as we can to it, and then you finding your transfer over to the actual city. But we can arrange the hotels once you're there. Okay, and Clark, I see you're saying I'm late. Can I join at this time? Um, well, yes, so this presentation is being recorded and it should be sent out to everyone who's attending this call within 24 hours. If for some reason you haven't seen it within a day, just give us a call and I can get this link directly emailed over to you. Of once this is finished recording. Perfect. Well, I want to thank everyone again for joining us. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to get to everyone's questions. We actually had over 300 attendees plugging into this session right now. So imagining 300 questions, everyone asks one question, it could be quite a bit. So I was trying to get through as many as I can, but just feel free to give us a call. I'm sure you'll be very impressed with the service you're able to receive when speaking to our team members. And again, these are trips that a lot of our travelers are booking today, even if it is being planned for later this year, next year, or 2023. So I hope everyone has a great day. Stay safe. This is Baltazar with Amtrak Vacations. We look forward to your call.